Page 4, The Marriage of Figaro. This is a melody from an opera by Mozart. On the previous pages, they talk a little bit about all the preface. I'm talking about the preface. They cover the symbols, all the symbols and things that you learned in book 1. I'm assuming you know all that. Although we're going to cover some here too. But you need to know all of that. So make sure you're comfortable with book 1, because we're just going to keep adding stuff. It's just going to get more complicated. Let's talk this marriage thing and see what happens. I go through the system that I use to learn a piece of music. I look it over. I see it's about a page long or 4 lines. I just want an idea, a general idea of how long it is. The clef signs are treble and bass clef. I always check the clef signs because you never know. The key signature is in the key of C major. There's no sharps or flats in it. You don't really see a key signature. That's why I know there's no sharps or flats and it's empty, so it doesn't show. So for us, it's C major. But when you do the scales, do the major and the minor scale both with no sharps or flats, and that would be C major and A minor. I got videos on them. The links are in the description. Okay, hopefully. Just do what I say in the video to 1 octave up and down. Just learn the scale. And it's a 4/4 time. So there's 4 counts in a measure and a quarter note gets a count. Now we have a pickup measure. At the beginning, you just have 2 eighth notes in that first measure. So that's beat 4. The first 3 beats then have to be someplace else. And if you look at the end, that's a dotted half note, which is the same as 3 quarter notes. And so that's 3 counts. So we're coming in on beat 4. Now we have a lot of eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I'll take it 1 hand at a time first. Make sure I have the notes and the rhythm and the fingering all worked out. Just right hand here. That means I'm starting here. I'm not going to stay here, but I'm starting here. The 4 and 1. 4 and 1 and 2 and then just reach up a little bit to A. We changed hand positions right there. We just kind of crawl up. Rest. At the end of the line, now you got to reach all the way up to the D here. And then claps. We changed hand positions again. And during the rest, you can come down. Change hand positions again. Let's go to the 3rd line. You're here. During the rest, we're going to come up again at 1 3, 1 4, and then 1 5. This is a melody. That's what we want. The thumb is just covering the other stuff. There's other fingerings, but that's what we'll do. And then they want you to come down and do 5. You can do that because the articulation lets you. But one of the things I'm doing when I first learn a piece of music is I'm trying to find a fingering that will let me play it all connected. If I can. Can't always, but I would try. I would like to connect this as 3rd line down, 2nd measure here. I would like to connect that to the 8th notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it. I'm going to play the G 8th note, thumb, and then come across 3 here. Relax the thumb, it'll come across. You can turn a little bit, but don't turn a lot. Twist. Just relax the thumb, it'll come across. And so it's the thumb. And the thumb. Now, 3rd line down, last measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It'll become a little clearer on the rhythm when we add the left hand, because that's all 8th notes. And during the rest in the last measure, last line, then you come up. You do the 1 and 2 and 1 and. Now they want you to come down here. Yuck. I'd rather not. Well, in the 2nd measure of the last line, I have 2 C's. I can change hand positions on repeated notes, and that's repeated notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use little finger on the half note. I'm going to change it. The idea with repeated notes, you got to lift up anyway. So we can change hand positions since we got to lift up anyway. So it sounds the same. And now I can come down with a 1-2, and then you can, if you want, do a 1-5. That's what I'm going to recommend. Left hand, just really it's a broken chord. These notes, and then these notes, and then these notes, they're broken chords. Eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Now on the E, because we want fifth finger here, if we're going to do that, I'm going to use fourth finger on the E because it's easier for me to use fifth on the D. So again, it's here, and then here it's 4. Scrunch up a little bit, 4. This way I'm ready to go on. That's a little more comfortable for me than to go from here to here. I go to so. This is just eighth notes. At the end of the line, you're here, and they want you to come down to here. I can't reach that. So, the end of the first line, instead of third finger, I'm going to use second, because that way I'm closer to where I want to go. I can almost reach it. Here, and then 2. And again, in the second line, first measure at the end of it, to go here, I don't want to go here. So I'm going to use fourth finger again, so I can use fifth on the next measure. So the second line first measure was here. 4, scrunch up, here. So the second line second measure, I'm here. Reach down a little bit. Little fingers doing both, that's okay. Third line down. Now again, I don't want to go in the second measure from the half note to the eighth notes here. Little finger on both? No. So I'll use a different finger on the half note. What I'm going to do in the third line, first measure, I'm going to come down with a 2, 3, 1, similar to the scale. So this way, thumb is here. Now I can reach down for the E on the here. See these little fingers coming up each time. Little finger. And then the last line you hear. And the second measure, again, we got 2 C's, so this is okay. The 3 and then a 1. I do 2-5 for that, and then a here, a 3-1. So the last 2 measures, it's a 5-1, and a 5-2, and then a 3-1 here. So once I have an idea of the fingering for each hand, then I go back and I try and put them together. And this is a lot like starting over sometimes. Don't worry about hesitating. I just want to know which fingers are working together. So we're starting here, here, and then these are together. These here, and reach up. These, and the fourth finger. Put the hands together. Then I go back over it a few hundred times, slowly and carefully, and I work out the hesitations and get the rhythm working. So it's a steady beat. Keep it slow, but a steady beat. Once I can do that, then I'll think about the articulation. Now here we're going to lift up, but you get rests for the most part in the right hand. The left hand, I'm going to try and connect it all the way through if I can. So it's here. For me. But when I get to the third line here, right hand lift up. This is why you can get away with their fingering, but I just lift up. The left hand, I'm connecting it. Second measure, the third line. I lift up here, but not there. Again. See here. And here. through slowly and work out the articulation. And when I can sort of get that, then I add the dynamics. It applies to the melody, which is the right hand. The left hand just needs to stay out of the way. Now, they don't give you all the dynamics. A lot of it is you interpret it, you feel the dynamic. They're giving you some basic guides to go by, just here and there. It's up to you to figure out, what else do I do? At the beginning, I'm soft here. Then the hairpin, I'm going to go up a little bit louder. So a little louder. And I suggest you come back down to soft here. And the next measure. And the second line, first, now you're moderately soft here. So the first 4 measures or so were basically soft. You just got a little louder there, and you can do the same thing even though they didn't say anything at the end of the first line here. It's the same musical idea. So you want to come up a little bit there, do that too. But then in the second line now, we're moderately soft in the right hand. The left hand's still very soft. And the third line, now you go up to moderately loud in the right hand. The left hand's soft. Now come down to moderately soft. Again, moderately loud in the right hand. Stay there. Now start to come down. Then the last 2 measures, you're moderately loud here. And now you come down a little bit. And now, soft. That's soft here, very soft. You need to get into it where you can feel these dynamics. Because you can get a little louder and softer if you feel it. They're just giving you a general guide of where to be in the dynamic level. And once you have an idea of the dynamics, then we can add the speed, the tempo. Allegro is fast. However, it's not necessarily the speed of the beat, it's the feel of the piece. And the 8th notes are going to slow it down a little bit. So the melody, how fast do you think the melody should go? To me, that's about right if you can play it accurately. If you don't go accurately that speed, slow it down. Everybody's fast will be a little bit different. The whole thing's about one speed. Then we add the interpretation, or what we can do with it at this point. And the first thing I do with interpretation is I think about the natural accents. The first beat of the measure, 1, 2, and then the third beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So at the beginning it sounds go to here. I'm exaggerating them so you can hear them better. You want to feel these natural accents. All the way through the natural accents. The articulation, the dynamics, the tempo, the natural accents, all this feeling stuff, that's all part of interpreting the music. They're giving you some guides to go by. It's up to you to feel the music and get into it yourself. Now they've added pedal. Pedal's like the last thing as part of interpreting the music, last thing I do. I always learn a piece without pedal first to make sure the fingers are doing what they're supposed to do. So you'll notice on the third line down, as it's getting louder, they're adding pedal. Don't know that you need it, but they're adding it. It's going to be overlapping pedal. I'm going to push the notes down first and then the pedal. So in the third line, it's here, and now here, and then change the pedal after I play the notes. Here, change. And then the fourth line, lift the pedal with the left hand, because that's a half note. I want to hear a full half note here, but you have a rest in the right hand. Rest, and then you don't pedal this. you could pedal that too, but this is what they're doing. I don't want to re-edit the whole thing. So that's basically all we're doing with the pedal, is you're adding overtones. We're changing the sound a little bit just for this one little phrase in here. I don't care for that pedaling, but I'm not going to adjust it. You can experiment with the pedal. Don't pedal this first part. No, that needs to be clean. Very clean and simple. And the pedaling would mess that up. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. Now this is after you've learned it. I'm not going to do the louds and the softs. I'll do the pedaling like they're shown. I don't agree with it, but I'll do it. I'll give us 3 counts because we come in on beat 4. We're going to go really, really super slow. In fact, since there's so many eighth notes, I'm going to put the metronome on eighth notes. But I'll give us 3 quarter note counts to come in. 1, and ready, and go, and. And 2 and 3